Hi, I'm Steve McCord, Cattaraugus County Director of Veteran Services, and this is Our Veterans, Their Stories, preserving our heroes' stories, one story at a time.
My name is Stacy Decker. I'm a Native American enrolled in the Seneca Nation. I joined the Marine Corps when I was 18, almost 19. And it was actually just, I didn't want to be living off my parents for the rest of my life. And my dad actually talked me and wanted me to go Army. He goes, go Army first, just go Army 2 years. If you like it, then go Marine Corps. I was like, Dad, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. So, because I told them the recruiter was coming, they're like, what? Yeah, how do you go from working at Holly Valley to there's a recruiter coming? I said, well, he's coming. He'll be here Wednesday. He's going to talk to you guys. And it was, I walked into the recruiter office going to talk to an Army recruiter. And I actually got stopped by the Navy recruiter and the Marine Corps recruiter. And after spending the whole afternoon there with all of them, I went and signed my papers with the Marine Corps. And I absolutely loved it. I was scared to death, but I loved it. We had a drill instructor who was kind of like our friend. She would sing to us at night, walk through the barracks and sing to us, and she would encourage us. And then there was Sergeant Thomas, who scared me. We called her the pincher because she would literally pinch you. And then there was Sergeant Rodriguez, who made sure that you dressed properly and you had your hair done, you had your makeup done, and you presented yourself like you're supposed to. Well, like a girl should, reminding you that you are a female. Yes, you are a Marine, but you are also a female. And you need to present yourself that way. So you don't sit like the guys like this, legs together, crossed at the knees. You just, you're feminine. You're just feminine. You don't.
What was the physical side of basic?
That was all the PT and all that was awesome. My favorite part was the 4-mile run that we would do every other day, because you'd run out 2 miles and they'd run us through this great big long shower thing, as long as this building, run you through it and turn you back around, and by the time you come through it, you're all ready to go again, and you're not going to die. I used to think I was going to die.
What about marching off the platform in the pool?
I don't remember that. No. You mean jumping into the pool with all our gear on? That was terrifying. Because then you had to get your bottoms off to get your, make it into a float, tie up your things and not drown. Because that stuff was heavy. But I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed all of it. Because they push you to your limit, but not too far, if you know when to pull yourself back.
Did they push you through the gas chamber?
Yes.
What do you think about that?
The first time, I was ready to run. I was one of them that was pushing, but then they send you right back through. If you push, you're going right back through. So on my third try, I didn't push. I just did my thing and got through.
That's rough. No matter what, that's rough.
How much weaponry did you have to do?
Well, I just had to do basic qualifications, but when we did NTA training, which is grunt training in Okinawa, I got to carry the machine gun, operate the machine gun, set it up. So that was awesome. I ended up getting heat exhaustion on the last day because we were going up this great big ravine and it was heavy. But they have an emblem ceremony for the WMs. And Sergeant Russ was the one I said just scared me.
Yeah.
And there were so many times when I said, send me to the remedial PT, I'll go back. And she's like, nope, let's go. Because they would wake you up. If they didn't like something you had done the day before, they would wake you up when they woke you up and send you to the back of the room. And you would do PT at 5:30 in the morning. And so a couple of times I was like, send me back. I will go to remedial PT, send me back. I can't do this. So at the emblem ceremony, that Sergeant Ross was the one that came into our line. And I was like, oh God. And she stood in front of me and she took my cover off and she's putting my emblem in my hat, in my cover. And she goes, I always knew you could do it, Decker. And she walked away and I was just like, you scared the dickens out of me. I was always afraid at the night on the nights that she stayed with us and so forth, because she was just that one you want to be. You want to be like her, but you don't think you can. And so when she said that, that was the best part for me. Because I did do it, and I didn't give up. I wanted to, but I didn't.
How did you handle being overseas?
I learned my alcohol tolerance. I liked it. It was different. It was interesting meeting all the different people. And I mean, people that I was stationed with, like, you hung out with this one, but she was totally different from this one. And it was different. Especially when you grew up, you didn't really talk to anybody except for who your parents would allow you to talk to.
What did you do in Okinawa specifically?
I worked in a warehouse and I ordered, we did bulk fueling. We refueled the helicopters, the airplanes, the trucks, all that stuff. So my job was to order all the fuel bags and the equipment and set up all the deployments that they went out, like the guys that went to Korea and the guys that went to the Philippines and all that. I was in charge of all their stuff, all their supplies that went with them. A majority of everybody went out, but like me and my friend Carolyn, we went to school to learn about the culture and stuff. She went on a lot more than I did. And then my other friend Lori, like, she would take me on different tours down south. We went to where did we go? They're underground tunnels. There's all kinds of tunnels underneath Okinawa that are they're on the whole island. So we went and mile down, and they take you on this tour all over the place of like where their hospital was and where they ate and where they slept and so forth. But that was like down what they call down south, which was like an hour from where my base was. But right outside our base was an entrance, but it wasn't all lit up like the one that was down south. You'd have to take your,
What was the function of the tunnels?
for when the Japanese came, for when the Americans came to hide from
World
us.
War II.
Yeah,
They're still there.
they're still there. And they have what they call suicide cliffs. Have you ever heard of them? That's where the women and children would jump because it was shameful to be caught by the Americans, so they would.
How did the Okinawans feel about you then?
The more traditional ones that were farther away from the bases would stay away from you. But the ones that were there that were making money running the bars and the stores and so forth were very friendly. They had mama-sans that would come on base and do your laundry for you and so forth. And it just depended on where you went.
Did you find that the Okinawans, especially the ones farther away, treated you different because you were female or native, or did they look at all Americans?
They look at all of them the same.
Same.
I don't know. They were more acceptable of the African Americans than they were of the rest of us.
Okay.
And I don't understand that, but
So you got lumped in with white people?
yeah, I did. Imagine that.
Welcome to the party. Well, you know, everybody that I knew when I was in my teens and 20s thought Okinawa was heaven when they were in the military.
I loved it. I plan, in fact, I started saving already to go back in 10 years. Just because I want to go back before I die.
So it's worth going to, just like a destination to go visit.
Yes.
How large is it? You said the tunnels were an hour from the base here.
Well, the tunnels run the entire island, but the entrance that we went to was an hour from our base.
Yeah.
We were more towards the top of the island, and that specific entrance was near the Air Force Base, which was at the bottom of the island.
Did you get to travel anywhere else while you were there? Anywhere around Okinawa? Or, I mean, not the island itself, but did you get to go to,
Japan,
you know, did you travel anywhere else?
No. I didn't, but I set up the deployments for when they went to Korea, and the guys went on different deployments.
Any issues with you on that?
I haven't known, but my son Christopher was born there. My entire pregnancy was there, and he was born with a high step. He's got what they call Milroy's disease, and they are now looking into that to see if that was caused by the water. So he's just waiting to find out if they're going to link that with it. Yeah, because his feet were like, it was like that high, and they said it was because he was so big. But when I brought him back here, Dr. Carney said, you know, if that was so, it would have been down by now because he's 2.5 weeks old. Then I worked in the office. I worked under the CO and the XO and the first sergeant, which is basically doing the same thing. I got the guys, put them up to their deployments or their schools, the NCOs and staff NCOs and so forth, not just. And then I got moved to a platoon, and then I was just, it was same thing, but I would make their appointments for them, like their medical appointments, their dental appointments, if they were deploying, if they were getting out, I'd set up all their discharge papers and so forth. When I was at Lejeune, all the WMs in our battalion were in one building, and we were on the top floor, and I had come home for a long weekend or whatever and went back. And in that time there had been a murder at WM Barracks, one of our WMs. And it was just the way that they handled it. Everything was very hush-hush. You couldn't show emotion because you don't do that. You know, we're Marines, we're tough. You know, you just deal with it. But you had to walk by that room every day, and there's, you know, the black fingerprint dust and just that. I would have stayed active. I would have stayed in. I would have figured out the whole kids and so forth and done my 20 years, and I loved it. I loved everything about it.
What specifically, what did you love?
I love the camaraderie that you have, that you build, that well, like on Facebook right now, friends that I haven't seen in 30 some years. I mean, we all talk to each other now. We all, you know, joke and laugh like we're still, you know, nothing's changed. And you have that backup. You have, all right, my one example is I'm not a runner. And I kept falling out of the battalion runs or falling to the back. I was bad. So this one specific run, they said if I fell out of this run, I was going to remedial PT. And I said, all right. And I started to fall back. And my platoon sergeant came around behind me. He goes, you're not going anywhere. And he put me, and we're like 6 across, and he goes, Decker's in the middle. So they stuck me in the middle, and everybody like moved back, and they did not let me fall back from that position. They slowed their pace down if they had to. And that was the first battalion run I had made since I'd been there. And it was awesome. I loved it. It was great because they didn't let me. They knew I did not want to go to remedial PT. So they were there, and it's just that. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Does that? I loved it. Yeah, Semper Fi, do or die. And that's what it was.